So I was listening to this manifestation theory the other day, and the video itself was rather clumsy, but it led to the beginning of something fairly profound. So I'm gonna share the gist of what the clumsiness was about. He was talking about, if you're desiring to manifest your dream home, the idea is for you to actually embody the home itself, the house, the thing. Not you walking around in the house, not how the house would appear to you as the person that owns it, but actually if you were the house, how would it feel? How many bedrooms would you have? How many kitchens would you have? How many restrooms would you have? And it's kind of a clumsy video, and that's kind of where he stopped talking about it. But I started to think about that later. And the thing is, and the reason I'm giving you the background on this is it's kind of hard to just jump right into it, because our programming totally goes against this. Our ego fights this like you would not believe. So my thoughts were to get myself in the right head frame. Started to think about if somebody was interviewing the house about what the house thought when we bought it, when we moved in there, when we decorated it, when we painted it. You know, what would the house say about us? And that kind of made it easier to put myself into how it would feel to be the house. And then I thought about that dream car in the garage. How does the car feel about you? You know, pretend to interview it. You know, and the car says, well, you know, he drove me quite a bit, but you know, he didn't race anybody, he didn't crash me, he was careful where he parked. I always had good tires, my brakes were always taken care of, my oil was changed, he always bought good gas. And so it started to put me in the mindset of being outside of my ego, not outside of myself, because I still believe the whole thing is we're not a body having a spiritual experience, we're a spirit or a soul or energy having a human experience. And so when I started to really actually process this from this point of view of interviewing, it pulled me out of my ego and it pulled me away into a different spot. So I started to think about the sky, you know, the evening sky, or in this case the summer sky and day sky, and started to think about if somebody interviewed the universe about me, about my ego, about the choices I make and the human decisions I make. And I started to realize that I have tried to do a pretty good job of life, and I have done a pretty good job with my life. I help people. I take care of myself. You know, I take care of my health, but I also don't overextend myself. I don't put myself in a feeling of guilt or regret or dislike because somebody asked me a favor and I went along with it, even though I didn't want to. I made choices that were for my health, but at the same time, if somebody needed my help to move, or they were injured, or they need a ride somewhere because their car broke down, you know, so I envisioned somebody interviewing the universe about me, and all of a sudden I realized that that's really what it's about. You get rid of the ego and the need to be right, or the need to feel like we made the right choices, or even the guilt or the anger about we should have made better choices, or we should have done things differently. And you just look at the outcome of, you know, I really did try to do the right things, not only for myself but for those I cared about, for the earth, for animals, for the environment, you know, whatever it is. And I realized that when you do that, all of a sudden you lose your ego of what you did wrong, or what you should have done differently, or why didn't you do something else. And it also made me realize that have made a difference to a lot of people's lives. Maybe not huge, maybe not, you know, I didn't save all the oceans, you know, but I made that little spot on the beach cleaner, and maybe the family that showed up there an hour after I left maybe had a better day because of it. But that's not why I did it. Maybe the person that I picked up when their car broke down helped somebody else down the road that was in really bad straits because I remembered the time that I did something nice for them. And I looked at the condition of my body and the friends I have kept in my life and the ones I have let go, or have let faded, and realized that I really have done a good job of choosing things in this life. I just interviewed the universe about myself. You know, what does the universe think about me? When the reporter asked questions about what I did, all of a sudden I realized I do pretty good. You know, I've lived a pretty good life. I haven't really made any mistakes. I've made some choices that were wrong. I've definitely done some things that could have been done differently, but at the time I was doing the best I could. And I really thought about it from that outside perspective of not judging myself, of just seeing the results. You know, how would you write this up in a magazine? And actually put me in that space of consciousness and love and awareness and gratitude for everything I've had a chance to do and everything I have done. It's just something to think about. Give that a shot to get out of your ego. Interview your car, interview your roommates, not legitimately, but you know, in your head. You know, interview your home, interview your dogs, you know, or your kids, you know. Again, not actually do it, just, you know. But what would be written about you by these people or these things? You know, we're really not that bad. Yeah, we've done some things that probably aren't the best, but we've always tried, right? We've always tried to do the best we could. What would people say about you? What would you say about you when you take your ego out of it, of trying to be right or better or justify things? What if you just looked at the results? Tell me what you think.